everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video, for the last time this season, kind of getting emotional because it's the last one, but in today's video we're going to be doing the commentary / analysis for episode 26 of Miraculous Ladybug season 4, Strike Back. Wow, it's been a ride to get here. Anyway, before I say anything further, if you haven't seen the episode yet, please pause the video now and check the description box for some links to where you can go and watch it below, because I'm about to spoil the entire episode for you, but please know those links in the description box will eventually expire as the videos get taken down for copyright and other things like that. Usually the best day to watch an episode is the day it comes out or the day after. After that, you're gonna struggle to find it, but those are usually the best days to watch it. So, oh my god. You will see my reaction video in a few days. Yes, I did film one, and I didn't wear my makeup for it because I was worried I was going to cry and then I'd have to redo my makeup for this, so I wasn't wearing makeup in it. I nearly cried, didn't actually cry. I did get quite emotional, and whilst it definitely did end on a cliffhanger, I did feel the ending was somewhat more heroic than I was expecting, but quick thoughts. Solid 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. If you're looking for an analysis of the episode that's going to be negative and talking about a lot of flaws it had, this is not going to be the video for you. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I have a couple of questions, but overall I thought it was a solid episode, and which is just why I get so annoyed with the show, because Risk and Strike Back were amazing, so was Senti Bubbler, so was even Psycho-Median, but then we get episodes like Ephemeral and Gabriel Agreste and Simple Man that aren't, and I get so annoyed because we all know the writers can write amazing episodes, like Cat Blank for an example. Amazing episode. I get so annoyed because we know they can do it, and then I don't know how it happens, but like I understand with a TV show, saying like I write novels for a living, every single chapter is not going to be as good as every single chapter. However, you should try your best to make them of roughly the same quality. So whilst I understand not every single Miraculous episode is going to be like a solid 10 out of 10, or at least above an 8 out of 10, you should be aiming for that, right? And obviously not all of them are going to reach that, some of them are going to fall short, but that's why I get so annoyed with the show, because I know they have the capacity to make it brilliant, but then it's not a lot of the time. So, but this episode was great. There were some things that upset me, but because they upset me because they were upsetting, didn't make the episode bad. I'll talk about it more as I get into it, but I'm not expecting this video to be that long, to be honest. I don't have a lot to say. It's basically going to be me talking about how much I loved it, and I'm not going to go much into, in this video, predictions for season 5. I haven't had time to think them all through, but I've already got a comprehensive list of ideas I have for possible theory videos, so I'm not going to go too much into speculating about season 5. I'll touch on it a bit, but I'm mainly going to stick to talking about the episode in this video. But oh my god. Wow, it was so good. What a way to finish the season. I just wished some of the other episodes this season had been even just slightly a bit more of the same quality as Risk and Strike Back were. And weirdly, the spoilers didn't really dampen my excitement for this episode at all. I had a feeling Felix was going to do that with Dog Miraculous anyway, so I was like, okay, whatever. I was more interested in this finale about the Lady Noir development, which, oh boy, so good. So I didn't really spoil it for me, but I don't know if people realise by Thomas and the ambassadors confirming on Twitter that yes, this trailer did spoil a lot. By confirming that is actually spoiling a lot, so okay. Anyway, so wow, yeah, where shall I start? I usually go through chronologically, but there are some things that I can't do chronologically, and the first thing I want to talk about is the Lady Noir development, and actually just in general. In this episode I was really worried it was going to be rushed because there was a lot to fit in. I knew it was not all going to be resolved because it's going to end with a cliffhanger. That's the way cliffhangers work. You can't resolve everything, otherwise it's not a cliffhanger. That's how it happens. But the Lady Noir development was really good for the amount in this episode. I mean, they only spoke to each other once in, well, they had like one conversation right at the start of Risk, then the rest of the episode was Adrianette, and then this whole episode was Lady Noir. So it was split in two, which I really liked. They did the season 2 finale in the same way, where Catalyst was all Adrianette and then Mayura was all Lady Noir, apart from the very ending with the picnic pretty much. So I really like the split between the two, and I absolutely loved it. It was really well paced. At no point when I was watching the episode I felt like the episode, it kept going, it didn't feel rushed to me at all. And if we compare Strike Back to Ephemeral, I felt like I was speeding through that episode. It just went so quick and it was like all over the place. Risk and Strike Back, so perfectly paced. This is what I talk about when I mention pace. If you never understood when I say it went too quick or it went too slow, Risk and Strike Back had perfect pacing. They were both absolutely amazingly paced. I love pace, okay? Something that has a good pace to it, and this did it well. The whole episode, everything in it was all paced, but especially the Lady Noir development. Like, wow. So first of all we had that scene where they're kind of arguing right at the start of the episode. He's like, you never take risks. If you want to take risks, you'd let me know your identity. And she's like, no, we can't do that. You know we can't, because we've got to protect each other. And then she thought of Cat Blanc. I was like, oh my god, say something. Oh my god, say something. And I'm really hoping, actually I'm going to write that down, she finally says something to him, because now it's them against the world together again. I hope she finally does tell him about Cat Blanc, because really there are no secrets left between them now apart from their identities. And Cat Blanc, he knows everything now apart from the identities of some of the other heroes, like Julika and Milen for example. But other than that, there's really nothing left between them apart from, well, he still doesn't know she told Al your identity. I feel like in order for Lady Noir to go forward, I'm writing all of this down, this is really helpful, Hazel. I feel like they can't move forward in their relationship until she confesses all the secrets to him. Like, I just don't feel like it can go anywhere, so I feel like that was really good for development. And then the next kind of development we got was him watching, obviously she didn't see, him watching her with the new dog Miraculous holder, whose name I'm not really sure of. I'm wondering if it's going to be different for the English because it sounded a bit odd in the Portuguese. Would it begin with an F? Can't even remember now. I'm assuming it's going to change for the English. Probably, maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. What does it have to do with dogs? Can anyone help me? Because I'm not sure. But we had that and he saw them do a pound it, and my heart, I was like, baby boy. You'll see in the reaction, I'm like, come and give me a hug. I will give you all the hugs you need. Because no, and then he says like, you never tell me anything and stuff like that. Then of course we finally get the Lady Noir in the ending, and I mean, I was so happy that happened. Like, I'm so happy they did have an argument, they didn't confront everything. I feel like I said, in order to move forward, she needs to know about him being Catwalker as well, and that he actually is a really good team player. He needs to know that she told Alia her identity, things like that. Like, it's obviously at this point it's too dangerous for him not to know those things. I agree their identity should be kept secret because of how powerful Shadow Daddy is now. Oh, I guess he's not Shadow Daddy anymore. Oh no, we've lost Shadow Daddy, I've just realised! No more Shadow Daddy! I'm kind of glad I was right that the final battle of Shadow Daddy meant he was going to lose one Miraculous but wouldn't be defeated outright. And it was like a misleading title but could be interpreted in other ways. I'm glad about that. I don't get to call him Shadow Daddy anymore. That's so sad. My entire channel has been built on the name Shadow Daddy. And he's gone! What am I supposed to do now? Anyway, obviously with Shadow Daddy now having, or Hawk Daddy I guess, now having the rest of the Miraculouses, it's too dangerous for each of them. It's now too dangerous for them to know the other person's identities. Fine, okay, whatever, got it. However, he needs to know the other things, and honestly, I am absolutely astounded. Well, I mean, yes and no, I'm not astounded. I guess for me, if I was in this situation, if I had been treated by Ladybug the same way she had treated Cat Noir, and if this happened, I'd be like, okay, bye, you're on your own. Because no, like, it's been so long of her casting him out, not telling him anything, treating him pretty horribly. Like, she treated him pretty horribly in episode 23. I'd be like, no, I'm sorry, I'm done. However, Adrian is a much, much better person than I ever will be, because he was like, you know what? It's me and you against the world, my lady. And I was just like, Adrian, you are too good for this world. He is too good for her. I hope that when eventually they get together and they find out each other's identities, she realises just how lucky she is because of how much he has done for her. Because I think I say it in the reaction, obviously that was my first time watching it, I've had time to calm down now, but I was like, you do not deserve this boy, Marinette, and she does not. After the way she has treated him, she does not deserve anything from him. Yet he is still there for her. Adrian's capacity for forgiveness and kindness is absolutely amazing, and I love him so much because I could never be that person. He is amazing, he's wonderful. And also Mark was in the episode, so that was wonderful as well. But, you know, I could never be Adrian. Adrian is probably a much better person. Not to call you all out, but Adrian is probably a much better person than all of us combined. He is wonderful. This is why I have trouble with dating, because Adrian Agreste has ruined me for everyone. Like, he's so wonderful. Like, who am I supposed to marry now? When I know, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, I thought the Lady Noir development was amazing, and I will do, obviously, a video discussing what's going to happen next between them, because oh boy, there's definitely still a lot to talk about going forward from this episode. If you think I'm stopping making videos until season 5, I wasn't planning on it anyway, but now after this episode, there is still much to discuss after this video. So much to discuss, so much. I already had a lot planned, and now I've got even more fun to have besties. I can't wait. But yeah, like, Adrian has absolutely every single reason to be angry at Ladybug for. Ever since Optigami, because that's kind of when it started, he has realised he's being left out. It's the end of Optigami, and then of course Senti Bubbler in 14, Alia was like, no, we don't need you. 15 Glaciator 2, that wasn't a good episode for him. 16 Haxan, Ladybug went off on her holidays and gave someone else a Ladybug Miraculous, great. 17 Rocketeer, disaster. 18 Wishmaker, not so much happened in Wishmaker, but you could kind of see Adrian was starting to lose trust in Ladybug. He was like, do I even want to be Cat Noir anymore? Then we had a bit of it right at the end of Ephemeral when they were coming back down from space. She wouldn't even tell him what she needed him over the phone. And then of course 23 Kuroneko, the big one for their relationship, although I wish that had been executed better, but that's not the video to discuss this. But he has every single reason for in that ending for him to be like, you know what, you've treated me absolutely horribly, you're on your own, goodbye, good night, here you can have my Miraculous if you like. But he didn't, he stuck by her. He is so wonderful. He's wonderful. I don't have anything else to say. It was amazing. It was amazing. I love Adrian so much. I guess I should have expected him doing that because he is Adrian. Like, he saw that she needed him. He was there for her. I don't think I'm that good of a person because I definitely would never have done that. I'm not as good of a person as Adrian is. So now let's talk about Alia in the same way I thought that was developed well over the episode as well. So she took a risk and was like, oh thanks Rena, and then Cat Noir was like, who? Who you talking to? You know what I mean? And then Carapace did the shield, which I thought was very sweet, him protecting Rena. I really liked that. And then Ladybug's face, she turns to look at Nino, and then she turns to look at Alia like, well, time to have some conversations. I genuinely thought, I think I said this in the reaction, I genuinely thought Rena had told Ladybug. I thought she told her. That she told Nino. Okay, and then of course we had the part in the alleyway where she rescinds her Miraculous. It was very sad, but it definitely needed to happen. And I definitely think Alia is still going to have a role moving forward. She kind of can't not have a role moving forward since she knows that Ladybug is Marinette, and usually in superhero stuff the best friend does help in some capacity even if they're not a superhero themselves. So I'm going to talk about that more though in a different video because that is a season 5 prediction. It was very sad, but definitely needed to happen. There was no way Alia was going to be safe with Hawkmoth knowing her identity and her keeping a Miraculous permanently. She would not be safe. She had to give it back. It was sad, but it did need to happen. I think we can all agree. It would have been extremely hypocritical for Ladybug to let Alia keep it, and it also would have been extremely dangerous. So I am glad it happened, but I am very sad about it. However, now this is one of the questions I have to ask, and it didn't really dampen my enjoyment about the episode, but I was like, the frog mark? I think I might have said it in my Risk video, I can't remember, but I was like, does no one notice these marks? Like, fair enough, you might not notice it on some people. For example, Lila, very long hair, I don't think we could see it, but all the boys especially have quite short hair in the show. You should have been able to see it, and it turns out you can even see it through clothing. So at first I was like, oh okay, maybe the frog mark is there, just there as like a signifier to the audience, and that Rena can only see it through her telescope because it's a special telescope to do with illusion or whatever. But then Ladybug sees it on Cat Noir, and then she remembers not seeing it on Adrian, who is Felix. So I'm a bit like, why did no one notice it before? I don't know the answer, it's just one of the questions I have. I'm like, okay, I understand it needed to be spotted in order for her to realise Adrian / Felix wasn't infected by it, but I'm a bit confused when no one noticed it before, you know what I mean? It's just a question I have, I'm like. However, that being said, I did really like how risk affected the Sakuma battle, with everyone taking risks, and then with Ladybug questioning it, am I just going to rescue Adrian, who obviously is Felix? Am I just going to rescue him because I'm in love with him, or am I going to rescue him because I actually need him and he hasn't been infected with risk? However, why isn't she then saying to herself, like, she's well aware that Felix lives in London, I'm pretty sure she's aware of that. Why isn't then Ladybug saying to herself, why does Adrian not have this mark on him? Because all of us have it, and Akuma villains so far only affect people in Paris unless the akumatization happens somewhere else. They only affect people in Paris. So why has Adrian, who doesn't leave Paris, hence why he's going on this trip, that like a massive plot point in Risk was like, Adrian's gonna finally get to leave the city and see the world. Apart from in the New York and the Shanghai special, it seems like Adrian spent his entire life in Paris. So why wouldn't Adrian have been infected? I would have liked for her to question that, and then maybe for her to be like, oh okay, it doesn't matter because she was taking the risk. I feel like they could have easily explained that away because of risk. You know what I mean? So I was a bit like, why didn't you question why he doesn't have a mark? So I was a bit confused there. However, I really liked the way they built things up with Felix, how he sees her take the dog Miraculous out of her yo-yo and he was like, oh, are they all in there? She's like, oh yeah, it's a shortcut to the miracle box. And then he was like, oh, I touch it, and he does it with his hand. But it's like, oh no, with the ball. And I was like, oh, okay. I was hoping, obviously we know after we got that spoiler image, but from that initial trailer from Gloob, I was hoping the fetch ball touching the yo-yo was just more symbolic of Ladybug losing to the dog Miraculous rather than them getting the yo-yo. But I was like, oh. Okay, at that point I was starting to get paranoid, which I think you'll be able to see in the reaction. I was like, oh god, no! And then especially when, because I quite liked the way time travel was used in the episode. I always get nervous when they do time travel because it opens up for plot holes. I was worried what they were going to do was go back in time and get rid of the Risk Akuma as soon as he gets akumatized. That didn't happen fortunately, so I was worried it would open up plot holes. So I liked the way the Rabbit Miraculous was used, but I was like, oh well, if Felix touches the ball to the frog teddy, that means he's gonna have to detransform, which turns out they did, and oh my god. You'll see in the reaction, this is the point in the reaction I nearly cry. The part in the sewers where they detransform nearly broke me. If you have been on this channel for a while now, you will know one of my favourite, ultimate favourite scenes in the entire show, the whole dang show, one of my favourite moments is in the season 2 finale. In the sewers, Ladybug's like, we've lost, and Adrian's like, no we haven't. They put their hands on the wall, they do the wall between us, and he's like, let's go back to what's always worked, a duo, you and me, my lady. And then they run off the platform with their eyes closed, jump and transform in midair. That is one of my favourite scenes from the entire show, and they kind of redo it again in Miracle Queen but underwater, and then they also redo it in the New York special as well. Obviously it ends a bit differently in the New York special. One of my favourite scenes. And I was sat there and I was like, how dare you? How dare you let Marinette and Felix do that. Oh my, I'm still fuming. I will be angry about this for the rest of my life. The last words I speak before I die, I'll be like, bring Thomas Astruc here. I mean, I'm probably gonna live longer than him since I'm younger than him. I'll be like, bring Thomas Astruc here and let me punch him for that scene. It was a good scene, don't get me wrong. It got the reaction because of how much I love that scene. Oh my god, I rewatch that scene all the time. That scene and the guilt trip boiler room scene, yes, I'm still on about that scene. Wonderful scene. Those scenes, the best scenes in the show. And they tried to ruin it for me. They will not ruin it. I'm gonna cry again. They will not ruin this scene for me. I was very annoyed. It didn't make the episode bad. Okay, didn't make the episode bad or anything like that. That's hence why it's still a 10 out of 10. But it upset me greatly. Oh boy, it upset me. As you can see by the look on my face and hear in the tone of my voice, it upset me. Honestly, I just don't feel like I'm ever going to be okay again after having this job. Like, I made some Miraculous videos and the few people who were commenting were like, you should make more. And I was like, should I though? Should I? Okay, maybe. And now I'm just like, well, this show isn't even good for my mental health. So I'm going to carry on though, obviously. It's too much traumatizing fun not to carry on. Yay! However, that being said, I did love the parallels it used instead, like I said. One of my favourite scenes, I watch it all the time. We've got like rehashes of that scene over and over. We kind of got the ending was a parallel to that scene as well. So I liked the parallels used between them, and obviously when Cat Noir arrives a bit later and Ladybug's like, oh, cat and dog, you can't get along, shake hands, you're gonna like everyone. And then I know the quantum masking was in place, but again, this is a question I have. So I believe it was Mark, best boy, and then 3 others on the screen. Honestly, I've forgotten who they were because Mark was there, so why would it matter when other people are on the screen? But when they saw Cat Noir and Felix with the dog, or like I said, I forgot the name, together, I'm pretty sure at the very least Mark was kind of like, they look similar. I know the quantum masking you wouldn't be able to tell who they were, but surely you could tell if someone looks similar. Yeah? No? Maybe? I guess it's hard to tell because none of the other Miraculous holders have been related. Well, that's a lie. Julika and Luca, but they don't really share many facial similarities. Like Adrian and Felix are basically identical twins, so it's a bit of a different situation there. So I can't tell if they were like a similarity. Maybe? I don't know. I'd love to know what you think of that, besties. And also another question I have. First of all, why was Ivan even used in the fight? I didn't really see the point of him being there. Don't get me wrong, I like Ivan, but I was like, okay. Alright then. And also, why was Paris on fire? I'm not sure why it was on fire. That was a bit weird, but okay, it was on fire. I'd like to know why exactly it was on fire. I'm assuming it's due to Strike Back using all of these powers and maybe using the clout to set a fire somewhere. It looked cool and all, but I'm just like, why exactly was the city on fire? Bit confused there, bit confused there. However, I am really glad she was able to do the Miraculous Ladybug before the yo-yo got taken, because otherwise it would have been absolutely disastrous. So now let's talk a bit more about Felix. And whilst I was fairly confident going into this episode about what he was going to do with the dog Miraculous, I mean, to be fair, I've always been on the fence about Felix because his debut episode, Felix, he was horrible. I hated him in that. Episode 9 this season, I was like, I mean, I don't like you, but I preferred you to in your debut episode in this episode. I preferred him in Gabriel Gross. I remember Thomas tweeting out after that aired and he was like, so do you all like Felix now? And everyone was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, let's wait. No, let's not write him off completely yet as a good person because I don't think he is. And I was right. I made a whole video about him being an anti-hero, which I still think he is. So if you don't know what anti-hero is, I'll leave the video linked above so you can go and watch it, so it goes more into it. But it's basically someone who isn't necessarily on the good side or on the evil side. They are just doing things for their own benefit, which he does in this episode. They're doing things for their own benefit, and depending on what that beneficial thing is, they end up being on the good side or the bad side. However, I think obviously Felix's alignment in this episode was evil because he traded the dog Miraculous and his ring and the yo-yo, all just for one peacock miraculous, which is quite a big thing for Gabriel to do if Adrian is a Senti monster. But I'm going to make a video about the Senti monster stuff as well, because I feel like there's a lot to unpack there. But Felix did say I'm sorry before he left, so I feel like Felix could come back with the peacock miraculous and double cross his uncle. However, that would also be dangerous since now he knows that Felix for definite has the peacock miraculous, so it's not a completely safe situation, but I feel like Felix could help Ladybug. However, because he betrayed her, how much she would be willing to let him help her, I don't know. Like I said, I want to think a bit more about the Senti monster stuff, because I always felt that if the Senti monster theory is true, then both Adrian and Felix are Senti monsters. However, Felix gave Gabriel back his ring. Now that could just be interpreted as Felix giving him back because the ring that Gabriel is now wearing, well, actually no, it's Natalie who's now wearing it, is actually Emily's ring. Rings, oh my god, this is so confusing. So I always felt like Emily's ring, the one that Gabriel and now Natalie is wearing, was Adrian's amok, and then Gabriel's ring, which Felix had, which he traded, was Felix's amok, with Emily being the creator of Adrian and Felix's dad, who is dead, being Felix's creator. Yeah, that's how it is in my mind, assuming the Senti monster theory is true. So I'm a bit confused right now if Adrian really is a Senti monster. Why would Gabriel trade the peacock miraculous for Felix? Maybe he's like, well, Felix is a Senti monster, he's not gonna snap his own cousin out of existence as well, because he understands what's gonna happen. But also, why would Felix give Gabriel his amok back? Okay, yeah, he has the peacock miraculous, that means he's not gonna die, but also at the same time that surely means that Gabriel can control his nephew? That's assuming they are Senti monsters, so I don't feel like the Senti monster stuff is as cut and dry yet. And I also feel like because Felix said I'm sorry, he could come back and double cross his uncle, because I did hear from somewhere, can't remember where though, that Felix will be back next season for a bit more, which I'm excited to see him again, because I feel like he could double cross his uncle back, and both Adrian and Marinette are going to be like anti-Felix next season, which I can't wait. I'm going to write that down as well, because Felix with Marinette and Adrian and their relationship going forward, like, I feel like Adrian and Felix, they have a rocky relationship anyway, especially after what we saw at the start of Risk, where they were kind of sort of arguing with each other. Even though Felix was helping him, they were kind of arguing with each other. So he's already kind of not happy with his cousin, and now he's also hurt Ladybug, who I assume Cat Noir is still in love with. Also, is this going to be next season a Love Square reverse time? Possibly, because she was blushing pretty heavily. I said in my reaction video that I watched Risk last night, and the blush Marinette has on her face when she's talking to Adrian in the courtyard when they're playing prison ball pretty much matches the expression on her face at the end of Strike Back. So I'm just like, is this finally the start of the Love Square reverse? Because we desperately need it before the reveal, which I'm assuming is in season 5, which I think by that point we will be ready for it, because right now, I mean, I wasn't ready for the season 4 finale. I thought I was, turns out I wasn't. I nearly had a panic attack this morning. Woo, love that for myself. Now let's talk about Lila. I don't have a great deal to say about her since she did pretty much nothing in this episode. But, so Natalie goes out to call Gabriel. She's in like the train corridor further down by the toilets. She's just discovered Adrian, Felix, isn't there. And she starts coughing and nearly starts falling over. And Lila sits there and smirks. I know Lila isn't a nice person, but the very least you could do is go and help her. I'm a bit confused right now. I think it's because obviously Lila's evil, but a bit confused why exactly they bothered even showing us that. Why didn't they just show Natalie coughing and then falling over without having to see Lila in that angle and seeing her reaction to it? Why was she smirking like that? I get Lila's horrible, but I've always been like, that horrible? Surely she'd help Natalie, who is very ill. Maybe I just think more of Lila, that she has some capacity for goodness in her. Maybe that's my problem. But I was just a bit like, what are you doing? Why are you smirking at her? I didn't quite understand Lila's motivation there. It was just strange, to be honest. However, whilst all of that was going on, they had Ladybug talking to Adrian and in his room, and he was like, go and de-transform in the bathroom, and she was like panicking, like, can I trust you, can I trust you? I understood where she was questioning it, but I was like here going crazy. I was just like, just go and de-transform. The longer you leave it, the worse it's gonna get. And he has all the Miraculouses now, apart from theirs and the Peacock. So I am very worried moving forward about what's gonna happen. I'm definitely interested to see how all the Miraculouses are gonna be used for bad, because I think I said in like my Miraculous powers ranking video, which yes, I am going to do a new one now we know all the powers. I said in that video that I wasn't sure how the butterfly or the peacock could really be used for good, since they've only really been used for evil, but you all explained it to me so I understand now. But now I'm interested to see how all of these can be used for evil, especially something maybe like the pig Miraculous, which is still fairly useless even though it's used for good, but anyway. Like, oh, there are so many possibilities for next season. I cannot wait for it, but I also need some time to recover. And also I did see some people, I briefly scrolled through the comments on Twitter and Instagram this morning, asking me why Felix didn't just take her earrings instead of the yo-yo. There was a huge group of people around Ladybug. How suspicious would it be if he got his ball, which is like the size of a tennis ball, which is, I don't really have anything of that size in my room, but if he held it up to her face to touch her earrings, everyone would see. The yo-yo is a lot lower down, they're all looking at Ladybug's face, not Ladybug's butt, so they wouldn't have been looking at that anyway, and he was stood next to her anyway. Would have been very discreet for him to go bonk onto her yo-yo rather than up towards her face, which everyone would have seen. So I'm not questioning why he didn't touch her earrings. Do you realise how suspicious that would have been? Him touching the yo-yo is a much better way for him to do this. So yeah, and I'm also really intrigued to see everyone else's reactions in terms of the characters to what's going on, because we did kind of get like a little clip of a load of characters right at the end when Shadow Daddy, may he rest in peace, Hawk Daddy was doing like his little monologue over the city. Thank God we never to see Shadow Daddy's outfit again. Hated that thing. Oh, awful. Anyway. I'm excited to see if he's going to get those new outfits though, or if he's just going to give the Miraculous to other people, because I feel like Lila could come in there. That's a good point, Hazel. Lila, let's write that down. This is really helpful. But anyway, the first expression I was intrigued about was Chloe's, because she did look quite shocked. Like, she's only just been akumatized recently in Penalty, and also we've also got the Chloe and Lila relationship to contend with. I have so many ideas for that. Anyway, back to this episode. Even she looked concerned about it, so I'm interested to see where Chloe's going to go from here, and also Suhan. We also saw Suhan as well. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with Suhan. I don't have any ideas yet. I'm going to write it down and think about it. I'm putting all of this on my notes for Penalty, but yeah, I'm excited to see what his reaction's going to be. And whilst I'm really glad that like pretty much what seemed like all of Paris banded together to support Ladybug, I think it could be very interesting if perhaps next season, so let's say the majority of the city are on Ladybug's side, what is maybe going to be like if some Parisians aren't on her side, like, Ladybug, we trusted you and you messed everything up. Things are going to get so much worse. Like, there was already probably at least one Akuma attack a day. Now there's going to be Akuma attacks every single day, plus goodness knows what else is going to happen. So I am very, very interested to see if that could happen. I don't mind the rest of Paris being on her side. As long as maybe there is some conflict, I could maybe see Chloe taking a dig at Ladybug, saying, oh, like, okay, well, yeah, you also be Miraculous and Hawkmoth knows my identity, but you let him get the rest of the Miraculouses. I could see Chloe taking digs there, I could see Lila taking digs there, and maybe eventually the class would turn on Lila because of that, because by this point everyone in the class has been given Miraculouses. That maybe could be the sticking point. It really seems that the class right now is against Marinette when she talks about Lila, but they aren't against Ladybug versus Lila, only Marinette versus Lila. And hopefully next season Alia will finally stick up for Marinette against Lila, because it hasn't really happened yet. Alia still hasn't apologised for believing Lila, and one of the first lies Lila told in Volpina was that I am best friends with Ladybug, and Alia now knows for a fact you are not best friends with Ladybug because Marinette wouldn't go near you with a 10-foot barge pole. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is, hopefully, I'm gonna write that down as well, gonna come up as well. Because, like, why? Like, Lila hates Ladybug. She doesn't even know that Marinette is Ladybug, but she hates them both, as we saw in Chameleon and in Volpina. So I think that could be a possibility as well. But wow, it was an amazing episode. What a great way to finish the season. I absolutely loved it so much. Solid 10 out of 10. Best line from the episode, I guess technically 2 lines. Ladybug says, I lost everything, then Cat Noir says, except me. And of course, because of that reason, the MVP of the episode, honestly MVP of the season, is going to Cat Noir. He was absolutely amazing in this episode, and he has put up with so much from her this season, from Optigami mainly. He has put up with so much from her, and he's still sticking by her. I wouldn't do it. I think I would have been out the door probably at the end of episode 16 if I was him. Actually, to be fair, if I was one of them, I wouldn't have lasted further than the original Mr. Pigeon. I'd be like, no, I've had enough, you can have the Miraculous back. But let's say if I was on the superhero team and I had managed to last until season 4, by the time it got to the end of Hack-san, I would have given up caring. And then I would have really given up caring by the end of Kura and Echo. And by this point, I don't even think I would have made it to the end of Strike Back if I was Cat Noir. Adrian is such a wonderful person and has the capacity for goodness that I know I will never be able to meet. Even if I try every day of my life to be as good as Adrian Agreste is, I know I will never even be a 10th of him. And don't even try and tell me in the comments I could be, because I know I couldn't. Because you are absolutely wonderful. I love you with all of my soul. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. If you are going to leave me an essay in the comments, besties, I can't wait to read it, but please put some paragraphs in just so it's a bit easier on my eyes to read. I'm going to be staring at a screen a lot today. I'm first going to edit this video, then I'm going to start editing the reaction video. I also have to make the screaming session. I'm assuming you want a Strike Back screaming session. Of course we will do that on Monday. So I'm going to be staring at a screen a lot whilst I do all that and reply to all of your comments and other DMs on Instagram. I've like got 20 Instagram DMs and like 50 Twitter notifications. Today is going to be a long day, so if you are going to write me an essay, please just put some paragraphs in it. I don't care if they make any grammatical sense. It's just break it up so it's a bit easier for me to read. I already have bad eyesight, and staring at screens for extended periods of time does not help with bad eyesight. So yeah, I think I have said everything I want to say. Like I said, I thought it was an amazing episode, but don't worry, I'm not going to stop making Miraculous videos because the season is over. I have tons of ideas already about what I want to do between this season and the next season with the channel, and I now also have a load of season 5 theory videos to make as well. I'm sure I'll think of more, so I'd love to know what your predictions or just little ideas you have. I'd also love to know what you thought about this episode as well, besties. So I guess that's going to be the final commentary video till season 5, which is kind of upsetting. I don't want to cry because I haven't taken the thumbnail photo yet. But I just want to say thank you all so much for thank you for being with me this season. It's been amazing. I never thought that when I started my channel I'd have an audience like this. I started my channel as a way to meet people who like Miraculous because I have like 2 people in my life I can talk to about it, and now I have 17,000 people, which is just absolutely insane. So thank you all so much for your support this season, and I can't wait to watch the rest of the show with you. So I'd love to know what you thought about this episode, besties, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!